Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Kayfabe Central podcast, and episode 30 of the headlines in pro wrestling this week, where we go over all the TV recap, drama, news, gossip, all that good stuff we go over on the headlines in pro wrestling this week. Obviously, not every single thing, just things that I see pop up, and I write down for the headlines podcast, all that good stuff. We're gonna be going over some of that stuff, some stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw. We're gonna quickly go over again. So we're gonna go over some NXT stuff. We got TNA Genesis predictions, and then we got some AAA news, all that good stuff happening. So yeah, we before we came on air, we had a lot of technical difficulties, a lot of things that were just going wrong. Rue was having difficulties with the setup. Yeah, my dog is roaming back and forth in the background. There's drilling going on in the room next to me. I don't know. Siri started playing a song out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but we're episode 30 of the headlines of pro wrestling this week. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. Speaking of interviews, my interview with Jax Williams drops on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys have your notifications on, all that good stuff, so you are updated when that interview drops. It is going to be available on YouTube and Spotify, so make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Yeah, let's jump straight into the podcast, and then I'll save the rest of the self promo for the end. So let's start by talking about probably the freshest thing in our minds, which is SmackDown that went down last night because I didn't do a SmackDown post show. I was too tired. Rue was too tired. It was just a very tiring night for me, particularly because Thursday was very exhausting. That was a very busy news day and wrestling day and all that stuff on Thursday, which is weird because Thursday is usually the more like chilled and relaxed days
Nothing
of the
happens.
week. Not this week. There was a lot that went down, including that TNA AMC debut show that we're going to be going over. But let's talk about SmackDown. Um, we had a couple things go down. I guess we can go like from top to bottom, just kind of skim through some things. Actually, before that, what did you think of SmackDown as a whole, Rue?
It was fine. Like that's the thing. Like I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, it's amazing now. But I will say it's on the up, which is kind of weird. I would say, considering it's gone to the 3 hours, and we sort of all thought it was going to be a bit of a disaster, considering how bad SmackDown had been bar the US title picture. Um, don't get me wrong. There's definitely even the past 3 shows we've had now. There's definitely parts that is like unnecessary or just bad.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say it's getting better. Again, I think it still has a long way to go, but it's certainly improving. So I mean, I didn't mind it. As I always say, it's difficult sometimes when you're doing the lives to sort of distinguish. I'm like, did I not enjoy that? Was that just me? Did I like that a bit more? But oh no, I thought it was fine. Plus, as you said, last night was a difficult one for us all because we were both really tired. So yeah, it was fine.
I think it was a good episode of SmackDown.
Yeah.
I think I actually enjoyed that. A lot of what they produced on SmackDown last night. There's some people that saying Triple H has gone 3-0 so far for 2026 on SmackDown, which I can't fully debate with. We've had pretty solid episodes of SmackDown the past 3 weeks.
Mhm.
I hope that doesn't change this coming week when I'm going to be at SmackDown, but I can imagine it might because it's a go home show, and go home shows aren't usually that exciting. Um, but yeah, overall, like I think it was a solid show that I enjoyed. Like you said, there were some things in between that we didn't really need. But the show did kick off with Drew McIntyre and his just superstar entrance, with the music and everything, and took a whole 4 minutes from the ramp to the
Oh.
ring. That's what people like to call the Undertaker entrance. And yeah, it took a whole 4 minutes, and then he came out and he said, he initially was playing to the crowd, be like, I finally won the WWE title. And then he said, you guys weren't there for me when I got fired. You weren't there for me at all during the Bloodline stuff and, the Sami Zayn and Jey Uso stuff. And you guys should be saying thank you, Drew, which the crowd does chant thank you, Drew. Um, so that happened, and um, I wasn't, sure who to expect to interrupt him, but for some reason I didn't expect Randy Orton, because
Hmm.
Randy Orton did interrupt him. Not to congratulate him, but he reminds Drew McIntyre that he is going to win his qualifying match and he is going to win the Fatal 4-Way and he is going to beat Drew McIntyre for the WWE title because he has done that before, which I love Randy Orton bringing up. Yeah, we had that occur, and then um, Jacob Fatu came out to brawl with Drew McIntyre. They fought into the crowd. Miz came out and hit Randy with a skull crushing finale before his match. That led to the Randy Orton Miz match. But what did you make of this opening segment here?
So I actually have two thoughts, and they're both kind of on the opposite side. Overall, also, it was very cool. It's great to see Drew. Um, Coming out, he just looks so good with that WWE Championship. Though I pointed out to you, I just want to say, if anyone watches SmackDown back and there's that guy with the horrible kilt, that was not a Scottish tartan. It was disgusting. Bad, bad kilt that man was wearing. But yeah, overall it's cool. However, they did the trope in wrestling. I personally, it's a wee nitpick for me. I don't like. I understand Drew's a heel, but coming out and doing the whole like, oh, yous didn't support me, kind of like what Becky Lynch did in Dublin. Um, if he does that in America, sure. It made no sense over here. Drew, when he got fired, came over here and was the biggest star on Indie. We all loved him. We still all loved him. We still all supported him. I understand it. I understand it's a trope in wrestling. Just getting the cheap heat. But it's something I don't like when heels do that when they come back to their home country. I said Becky Lynch did it in Ireland, Dublin. Sorry. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm like, it's just not true straight away. But yeah, overall, very cool. We said Randy coming out. I love that. You did point at Randy talking about the history between him and Drew. And Jacob Fatu, man, I mean, we'll talk about him later on. Man's already looks like a star on his return. And man, his jawline chiseled, by the way. He's looking good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he definitely slimmed down a lot more and he's looking in pretty solid shape. This Randy Orton Miz thing doesn't do anything for me. I'm hoping it doesn't, continue or anything like that after this. But Randy Orton does defeat the Miz to advance to the Fatal 4-Way. It was a fine enough match. It's I I saw some other people bring this up as well, and I brought this up to you in your live as well. Why is The Miz in a qualifying match for the WWE title? He has lost 15 straight singles matches,
Ooh.
and he is in a qualifying match for the WWE title. That is ridiculous. And obviously, like that's from a kayfabe standpoint. Other than that, like people love to hate The Miz. He's just one of those guys. And he's a great loser. He's great at losing. And I don't mean that in like a to like throw shade at him or anything. He's just really good at losing and then coming back and making it be about him again, despite him losing previously. So he's great at losing, and that's what he does here to Randy Orton.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I don't know if you've watched it or not, because I'm a wee nerd and watched all of them. Chris Van Vliet's interview with the Miz that came out this week, he literally talks about that exact thing. Like he is in by his own admission, and I think folk might say he's being cocky, but I just think he's telling the truth. Like he says that he his one of his most important roles is the fact that he can lose, make someone look good, but then the next week you could also believably see him be put in a main event picture and title because he's the Miz. So he does and plays his role so perfectly. It's like, we've recently done it with like Carmelo, and then we've seen other times new people coming in, and he kind of elevated him, Joe Hendry for a little bit. Even though I don't know why he's gone back to NXT, but whatever. So yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you. I think this will just be like a one and done now with Randy. I don't see this continuing anywhere for some. It doesn't need to, but yeah, it's a solid enough match. Cool, just seeing the history of the two guys, but yeah, right choices on the end of Randy Orton going through to that match at Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, absolutely. We had Ilya Dragunov run into Drew McIntyre backstage, and Ilya Dragunov gives this like big speech, this heroic speech that how he's going to win the qualifying match and win the Fatal 4-Way, and he's gonna beat Drew at the Royal Rumble, and Drew just says, "I don't care." Like he just says, "I don't care." This is
Man's
why
a
we need
menace.
Drew as WWE champion. We just need this from Drew. Just like I don't care. Like what? Um, but so like that was that.
Hmm.
And that was a pretty funny segment. Just because of that. Other than that, it was just a typical babyface and heel stare down backstage. But I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I know it's funny. Also, we'll talk about what the outcomes later on in the night. But I think in any other timeline, I would kill for an Elio and Drew program because I want to see that match. We've seen Drew and Gunther go at it. I want to see Drew and Elio go at it. Unfortunately, we're just not on that timeline at the minute that that's going to happen. But I just said it was quite funny. That's just Drew. That's just Drew all over. He's amazing. I love the man.
Yeah. We had a couple like back-to-back vignettes throughout the night between the MFTs and the Wyatt Six, where the Wyatt Six, Bo Dallas in particular, said he wants the lantern back that belongs to his family. Solo Sikoa has a vignette of his own where he says, if you want the lantern back, you have to put those tag titles on the line. So Solo Sikoa is, blackmailing a little bit, and just being the piece of shit that he is, for them to get the lantern back, and we had something develop with that a little bit later on that we'll get into. Um, I really thought about this storyline, and the basis of it makes sense, and Solo taking the lantern, and Bo Dallas wanting it back and everything, that all makes sense. There's just something missing from it. There's that specific umph to this rivalry that's missing, and I don't know what it is, because everything is making sense. Like this feud, it should be cool. It should be really cool because these are your two top factions on SmackDown. But there's something specific missing. I don't know if you feel that way, or if it's like, completely just in the gutter for you. How are you feeling about this feud?
I mean, I could just be really, really pessimistic and say I don't care because part of me doesn't care, but I think that's what's missing. Like the fact that I don't have a reason to care. We've been seeing them going at it for a while, and I think both factions, bar Solo Sikoa himself, I think both factions have just had nothing going for them as a faction. And I just don't have a reason to be invested. As you said, there is actually a storyline there. Solo having a lantern. So we can't sit there and say there's nothing. I think the thing that's just missing is a reason for us to actually get invested in both the teams, both factions, and maybe if this was the start of the feud, we could. But we've seen it go. But this has been going on since what, before Survivor Series,
Yeah.
potentially. Like you're getting to that Damien Priest, Aleister Black bit where I'm like, there's story here, and it's like, it should be decent. We've been going on for so long though, with for so long now with not a lot of substance for me to care, and that's why I'm just like every single time I see them, I'm just like, okay, I don't care. But I want to hope something comes from it, but I'm just not that optimistic at the minute, to say the least.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I think that's just it, honestly. The fact that they haven't really given us a reason to care about this rivalry. Like you said, like Solo Sikoa, he's doing the best he can. And like some
Hmm.
weeks he's very entertaining. But it's the rest of the group. Like we're gonna get into this a little bit later on, but Tama Tonga seems to be distracted with Shinsuke Nakamura instead, more so than focused on this feud. Like even like as much as I'm not a fan of the Wyatt Six, I think that their entrance that happened later on was pretty cool. But we'll get into that. Um, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair are backstage. They are questioning each other, specifically Alexa Bliss questioning Charlotte Flair if she was actually sick, and if Charlotte has her back. They both make sure they have each other's backs. Nia Jax comes in with Lash Legend and is trying to get in the head of Alexa and Charlotte again. Oh, actually gets in that tries to get in the head of Charlotte after Alexa walks away. And pretty much doing the same thing she did with Alexa, like, oh, Alexa's gonna turn or whatever. Which, in a sense, Nia Jax has a point. because let's be honest, Alexa Bliss was the bad friend in that
Hmm.
partnership with her and Nia Jax. The same way it's like ki technically Tiffany Stratton was the bad friend between her and Nia Jax as well. Nia Jax just seems like the victim, but no one wants to put her as the victim. Um, so, but at the end of the day, Nia Jax is in no place to be giving advice on relationships because she's going to turn on Lash Legend at some point. So I think Lash needs to turn on Nia before Nia turns on her because I like that storytelling aspect. And I know we're kind of switching gears because the rest of this doesn't really matter. But I like what I appreciated about the Bailey damage control storyline is Bailey saw it coming because they were speaking in Japanese to each other, but by that point Bailey had learned enough Japanese to know what they were saying. And she saw the attack coming. She knew what was going to happen. I'd like to see that play out with Lash and Nia, where Lash is like, I know what Nia Jax is about. I'm gonna act on this first, kind of thing. I'd like to see something like that play out between them.
I mean, I think so. I think there's more of a because obviously at the end of the day, I think surely WWE sees this that you want to see Lash come out better in this situation because I think in the words of Booker T, she's a star.
Stop.
I mean, she's a star. She's amazing. So yeah, I think definitely, and it gives her. I love it when like as you pointed out, like smartness comes into wrestling. The big reason. Oh, it's actually no. Maybe we'll talk about it later on, so I won't spoil too much. But why I was maybe the biggest fan of a certain ending to a certain show this week. When you actually think of the smartness and intelligence of what that person did. So I would be all for that. Lashed on and now, but in the terms of Alexa and Charlotte as well, I don't know what you feel about this. If they're going to do this ton, and obviously they seem to be heading towards it, I truly think, as much as we love it, I think Alexa has to be the one to turn here. Um, because if we just turn Charlotte, what was this entire year about of her basically everyone despising her at the start of the year to her turning babyface, and for the first time, pretty much I would say since she came up in 20. Oh God, when she come on in
15.
2015?
Yeah.
My God, disgusting. Since she came up, that we've actually gone, wait, this is like the real Charlotte. This is the real like Ashley, pretty much that we're getting to
Yeah.
see to an extent, and everyone's actually really liking it. Even I've never been incredible wrestler. I've never been a big fan of Charlotte until this year. I swear the tag team division does something. It's the same with Bianca Belair. I was never the biggest fan until she had a run in the tag team division. I was like, oh wait, actually, I actually quite like you now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think in that sense we really have to have Alexa because that's the thing. Like Alexa is going to be beloved either if she's a babyface or a heel. Folk just love Alexa Bliss, but I think it'd be a real waste and a shame to turn Charlotte heel and just kind of put a stopper to everything we've built over the last year.
I think that would be the most interesting angle between them two because you have Charlotte Flair who could be like, I turned good. I forgot about the singles division. I forgot about singles titles to chase tag gold with you, and you're gonna turn on me.
Hmm.
That would be a very interesting angle between them two, and I would prefer that much rather. I would much rather that, sorry, than Charlotte Flair turn on Alexa Bliss. Um, but they were involved in a tag match after that segment. They were up against Julia and Kiana James. Now, I don't understand again why we're doing stuff like this. Um, Julia and Kiana James, let's make one thing clear. They're not a tag team. They are not a tag team. Kiana James, while she is a very solid wrestler because she proved that in this match, I feel that she
Hmm.
can actually go in the ring, and she should be wrestling a lot more often. The position that they put her in is Julia's manager and her mouthpiece. So they are not an actual tag team. So I don't understand why the Women's United States Champion is in tag team matches. I they from the very start they had no idea what they wanted to do with this Women's United States Championship. They put it on Chelsea Green, and then after that, it kind of just was even more downhill. Chelsea Green was the more entertaining with the title, of course. But like after that, it was really nothing. You had Meechin and B-Fab involved for a majority of that. So they need to figure something out. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair pick up the win here. And after the match, of course, Lash Legend and Nia Jax do attack them. Julie has a bit of a stare down with Nia Jax, and she has to be held back by Kiana James, which that could be potentially interesting. That's new. I think that definitely could be something that maybe they do between Julia and Nia Jax. I know it's more of a heel versus heel dynamic, but it's new, it's fresh. If you want to do it for the U.S. title, then by all means go ahead. As long as it's at least it's someone new for the women's U.S. title. So I wouldn't mind that. I think that can be potentially interesting. But yeah, what did you make of this?
Yeah, I just said like the match wise, Keanu I think's been has looked pretty solid actually. And down the line, I mean, I enjoy the Keanu and Julia stuff. I do. At least like maybe not how it's always booked, but I enjoy the as you said the partnership between the
Yeah,
two of them. And like I said down the line, I would be happy like once this kind of fizzles out to see Keanu like sort of distinguish herself in like a solid position in the mid card because she's don't get me wrong, you can never say never, so she could absolutely surprise us all. I don't particularly see her being pushed into that women's championship picture again. Maybe she does. But I think if she can get a solid like staple, mid like that's the issue with them at the minute. The mid card on SmackDown is so just unstable, I would say, because you're like, 1 minute we've got this, and then the minute Chelsea's feuding with Jade Cargill, then Jade Cargill wants the US Championship, and then we'll just hot potato, and then the champion's getting squashed. Both sides, what we did. So I go, and yeah, as you said, as much as I want to roll my eyes and be like, oh, Nia Jax, as you said, at least it's something different, it's something new, and something that we can progress forward with.
for sure. Um, we had Cody Rhodes come out, and he announced that he is going to be entering the 2026 Royal Rumble match. Because earlier in the night, I forgot to mention, Drew McIntyre said Cody Rhodes is not getting an immediate rematch because of the contract that they signed that was in there. So Cody has to go to the back of the line. And we've all been in agreement before that Cody Rhodes is better when he's on the chase for that
Hmm.
title. So I can imagine some good matches on the way to there. I still feel they're gonna find some way to put the title back on Cody before WrestleMania. It's very possible they don't. The route I hope they don't take for sure is Cody wins the Rumble and it's Cody and Drew at WrestleMania again. I hope that's not the case that they go with, because this is not Cody and Roman. This is a feud that you've done for months, and you finally pull the trigger on putting the title on Drew. We don't need that at WrestleMania again, or that match at all. It's probably going to happen again for the title at some point, but not at WrestleMania. That's supposed to be your biggest show. Um, and he says he is going to get his hands on Jacob Fatu as well. And that was the promo that continued on a little bit later on. Yeah, what do you think? Cody Rhodes is in the Royal Rumble again.
I think this is the perfect place for Cody to be. Something at least new that we've not seen in the last couple of years. As you said, you never want to say never on wrestling. I don't think he's going to win it. I don't actually know if they do ever do a. I mean, I guess they might, but ever have a person win the 3 times to join Stone Cold. Because obviously, if not done it, no one's done it. It's only obviously Cody could, but I think the worst thing they could do, and I mean this with like the respect is what you said, is just have Cody win the Rumble and go on to face Drew at WrestleMania. I don't like that. The only but and again, I was gonna say the only part of that I would be willing to see, and it also still does not involve Cody winning the Rumble. I do not want Cody to win the Rumble. If they are going to do Cody and Drew at Mania, put Jacob Fatu in the match. At least have him in the match to make it a
Right.
triple threat. That's the only time I'm okay with seeing Cody and Drew at Mania again, as long as Fatu is in that match. Or Oba Femi, who knows? But no, with the way the storylines are working at the minute, is more likely to be Fatu. I'm just saying, we mentioned it before. Man's trimmed down. Man's got a new jawline. Maybe he's been told something big's happening this year. We never know. Got to get you looking good. But I will say, you said it to me in my stream. How good was Cody here? Like this is where
Yeah.
Cody excels.
Yeah.
This is when folks say to me like, I don't dislike Cody. Loads of people do. I love Cody Rhodes. In fact, he's the reason he's the WWE multi-time WWE champion. He's been the top of the company for so long because he's freaking good. I'm sorry if you don't like him or he's a bit boring. Oh well, sorry, folks said that about John Cena in 2011. He's still one of the greatest of all time. Like he's good at his job. And this is exactly what I wanted to see from Cody. And I said it's a restart, put him at the back of the line. So I'm fingers crossed he doesn't win the Rumble. I really hope he doesn't. But also it is Cody Rhodes to kind of counter direct what I've just said. It is also Cody Rhodes, and WWE might just say, put it on Cody.
Yeah, exactly. This promo was really good though. The crowd was booing him when he came out, and then he managed to get the crowd back on his side. Not a lot of baby faces are capable of doing that,
Hmm.
and he was able to do that very well, especially by bringing up that London needs a WrestleMania. This is like the second time they've brought it up. I would think that they need to follow through at some point with this because it would just be weird if like you had it brought up a couple times and then you just didn't follow through with it. That's not
I
very
know.
nice. So
Biggest
I
tease.
feel like yeah, I know, right? I feel like they need to follow up on that. Um, we had Matt Cardona backstage with Kathy Kelly. And Matt Cardona also bringing a bit of history into this interview because he mentioned that he was Drew's first opponent in the WWE, which I didn't even know.
Love that.
So that's a really cool fact. And, um, we'll get into his match right now, actually, because it was next. And it made me believe, and this is what a babyface's job is supposed to be. Make the crowd believe that you're actually going to win the match because him bringing up that statistic then threw a
Hmm.
little bit of doubt onto some people's mind. Not mine, because I know how WWE works. But he goes out for his match against Trick Williams. Trick Williams is just an absolute star. Comes out to a
Ah,
raucous reaction and defeats Matt Cardona. Both of these guys put on a really good match, man. Like these two guys, they just know how to get it done in there. And for two guys who I don't think have ever met in the ring before, they had some pretty solid chemistry in here, and they put on a good match. Um, it was after the match, Kit Wilson came out, and he attacked Matt Cardona during his entrance and called Trick Williams toxic as well. But we'll get into Kit Wilson just now. I just realized I didn't write down what happened with Kit Wilson for some reason, even though that was one of the most important parts of the show. But yeah, Trick Williams defeats Matt Cardona to advance to Montreal.
yeah, I mean, for so many bits to quickly say, but like, firstly, just like, how good does Trick Williams look on this main roster? Like, is there
He's
someone?
a
There
star.
probably is. I'm just saying this as a. He is a star. This is maybe a slight rhetorical question because I'm sure there probably is. There is maybe a legitimate answer, but is there someone that's came up at least in the last few years from NXT that's just had this much like the crowd's just been this behind him? They've been like, oh yeah, yeah, the guy looks amazing, he sounds amazing, wrestles amazing. I literally I
I
don't know
don't
how
think
it's
so.
like exactly. It's like when you try to describe AJ Styles and you can't describe him any other way than phenomenal, and you're like, lol. Pretty much like he is a star. Like I know it's the joke because of Booker T, but he is a star. Like look at
Yeah.
him. But yeah, solid match, great for Matt Cardona. I'm actually like I've been loving what Cardona's been doing so far. And I with you what we said. I don't think we're going to see a Cardona World Championship run. I know we even talked about he needs one title to become a Grand Slam champion. I don't think we're going to see it. But what I do see, and I've said it before, is maybe seeing Cardona chucked in for feuds just to tide us over, seeing that kind of space where we're like over the summer and after Mania trying to get towards SummerSlam, maybe a wee feud in there for the World Championship for Cardona. But I don't actually see him winning it. Oh, but again, never say never. It could happen, but I just don't see it. But again, as you said, his whole job was to make you believe, and he did. Yeah, very solid match. Try to pick up the win, I think, is the right result. And again, like we'll talk about later on with who else is moving on to this match. But like the position Trick's been putting up and who he's been put in that ring with, man. I've not. That's what I mean. I'm generally obviously we'll need to see what happens eventually with Oba Femi, but at the minute, I don't think there's been anyone who, or at least in recent memory, who's came up from NXT that's been pushed this hard as Trick Williams. I'm loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Trick Williams is said to be a bona fide star on the main roster, and he's just He's just that good. With
Hmm.
Matt Cardona, I have a feeling, and I'm going to throw this prediction out there,
Yeah.
that Matt Cardona's WrestleMania match is going to be for the U.S. title against Carmelo Hayes. I think that's the route that they
Yeah.
might go. Because I think that might make the most sense for Cardona. On the road there, you can even throw Cardona in the elimination chamber if you really wanted to,
Hmm.
and then build to him and Carmelo at WrestleMania for the U.S. title, and I'd assume Cardona probably wins that at WrestleMania. Um, but yeah, I do think Cardona and Melo is potentially the plan for WrestleMania, and I can see them working towards that. Um, but with Kit Wilson, who came out afterwards, he just came out to sing a song and do his poses. And then Jacob Fatu super kicked him, and he delivered a couple moves, and then delivered that springboard moonsault that he does, got him out of there. And he said, "Cody, if you got something to say to me, why don't you bring your ass out here?" And Cody does just that immediately. And Cody comes down to the ring. He changed out of that suit real quick. He was in a track suit this time because he was in a suit earlier. Came out in a track suit, unzipped the sweater, went down, and they started a brawl that was broken up by gentlemen, Nick Aldis, and security guards. Um, and this sets up a match at Saturday night's main event between Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. Like you alluded to earlier, I think that we are going to potentially get a triple threat match between Cody, Drew, and Fatu. Whether that be at WrestleMania, whether that be on the road to WrestleMania, maybe that's how Cody gets his title back in a triple threat scenario. Um, maybe we just end up. I don't think they'll do Cody and Fatu one-on-one for the title. But it's very possible they do a triple threat with those three at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, starting off with the Kit Wilson stuff, and we've obviously spoken. Try to stay quiet here because it's a very you're not allowed to say you weren't the biggest fan of it when it first started here on the internet at the minute. But I will say, to be given these props, this is very much a situation so far of a man who is absolutely maximizing his minutes and going out there and running with it. I'll say that kind of similar to like the Drake Maverick and with All Truth in the past. So fair play to him, but yeah, I mean Jacob had to come out. Cody Rhodes. Yeah, look, and I'm going to make a comparison here. And now maybe not on the terms. Folk are going to first hear this and probably go, "What is that weird Scottish guy on about?" But at some point, if we are to do that triple threat, especially if it is at Mania, I look at it the same way as now. Let's see if you can remember this. Now, I want to make sure I get this date right. I'm going to look so stupid if I don't. Um, oh God, I'm going to quickly Google it to make sure I don't
Okay.
get this wrong. Uh, there was a. Oh my, this one. I want to make sure I definitely get this right. I think this, by the looks of it, could. Am I right? Oh my God, this is taking forever to load up. I'm so sorry, everyone. I just don't want to be. I don't want to look wrong. Okay, you know what? I'm glad I checked this because I think I would have been wrong. Otherwise, let me go check again. Let's go to this one. Results. Here we go. Here we go. Right. I'm glad I checked it because I would have got it wrong.
Okay.
I look at this like the Armageddon 2008 main event. Triple H, Edge, and Jeff Hardy. And now we've got Drew, Cody, and Jacob Fatu. In that, when you have that trophy, that's when that possibility comes of it being. And I'm saying that Jacob Fatu is our Jeff Hardy in this match. Obviously not in style, but there's an absolute possibility. That's what I mean. Like, we've all been saying it like as soon as Jacob came to the roster, the man looked like an absolute star and sort of slowed down a little bit with everything with his feud with Solo wasn't the greatest, and then also had to go away and have all his dental work. But the guys came back, he's looking in shape, he's instantly chucked in there with Cody and Drew. They've the main event on SmackDown. We've been wanting new people chucked in there. I think there's a possibility we might see Jacob Fatu as the WWE champion fairly soon.
It is possible. It is definitely a possibility. I just realized I did write that segment down on the website. It was just somewhere else.
Okay.
Um, we had uh Damian Priest with Kathy Kelly, who says It's not going to be fair with Solo Sikoa out there because of the MFTs. But he recalls there was a lot of like recalls to the past on this episode of SmackDown, where he mentioned that he defied the odds before in Money in the Bank. So he's going to do the same here tonight. That took us to his match with Solo Sikoa. Damian Priest defeats Solo Sikoa with help from the Wyatt Six. This was a really good match. And for some reason, I didn't
Hmm.
expect this to be this good of a match, but it definitely was. And yeah, Priest picks up the win because the Wyatt Six have a pretty cool entrance here.
Hmm.
And they attack the rest of the MFTs. They try to get their lantern back. And then Solo has it for a minute, but Priest catches him in the South of Heaven to beat him. And then when Uncle Howdy gets the lantern, it's Tala Tonga that takes him out. So they are having a tag team championship match next week. The MFTs versus the Wyatt Six. But yeah, good stuff here from Priest and Solo.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we were talking my live. It was slow to start off with because I think we were both like, oh, okay, the match, but then they really picked up a gear. Some of those kicks that Priest can throw, by the way, for a guy who's about, I think they said he was 6'7" on commentary. That's hilarious. I hate this. No, I hate this generation. Um, yeah, for a guy that tall to be able to throw some of the kicks he can do is so impressive. I think his Solo looked amazing in here as well, actually, in bumping for Priest. Overall, I think it was the right decision to have Priest in there. Again, a guy's a former world champion, and that's what I'm saying. We've already got Priest. Obviously, Randy Orton speaks for himself, and then chucking Trick Williams in there so far. It's a hell of a spot for Trick. That's what I'm saying. Like, what he's been put in there with is actually incredible. Um, so yeah, right decision. I said cool entrance for the Wyatt Six. That doesn't mean the Wyatt Six can be cool. It's just WWE also does really well at making them uncool. And speaking of that, I mean, don't worry, I'm not exactly excited about this. I actually really want the MFTs to take those belts off them next week.
I think they will.
I want them
I
to take the
think they
belts off
will.
them.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page for
Yeah.
that.
I'm almost positive that the MFTs are going to win those tag titles.
But who for the MFTs? Who do you think is going to be? Who's going to be the champions?
That I couldn't tell you. That they it could be anybody. It could literally be Tala Tonga and Tonga Loa that wins it. Um, Probably the two worst pairing there. Um, but Drew McIntyre ran into Sami Zayn backstage, and he reminded Sami that I can't remember what the exact record was, but Drew says he has always beaten Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn has never picked up a win over Drew McIntyre, which again is another fact that I didn't know. I'm like,
Mhm.
I really had to think. I'm like, really? He's never beaten Drew that many times? But yeah, Sammy has come out on the losing end every single time against Drew, and Drew reminded him of that. So a little bit of a segment there between them. Um, we then had the United States Championship Open Challenge match. Carmelo Hayes took on the X Division champion, Leon Slater. Now, um, we're gonna talk about TNA later on. But man, this made me so happy and so mad at the same time because TNA, I love you guys, man. I love some people over there at TNA, but oh my God, this made me so mad because he could have been on the AMC debut. He could have been on Genesis tonight, but instead he's putting on an absolute banger of a match against Carmelo Hayes for the U.S. title. This could have been on TNA even. Like it could have even been on TNA programming. But no. Like this match was so good. Like you know that feeling when you're in a long car ride and you need to use the washroom and then you finally get home and use the washroom? That's how good this match felt. Like it was so good. And like, you know what? I'm gonna throw it on there as an early match of the year candidate. That's how good I thought this match was. It was fantastic. Carmelo Hayes, of course, retains because they're not going to give a TNA talent the US title because why would they? Um, but yeah, this was a
Partnership.
fantastic match.
Anyway, I will keep the TNAing part for TNA, but just from a SmackDown part, this was amazing. I loved it. Obviously, we were saying beforehand, we were like, it has to be, actually, it has to be Leon Slater, who, especially again, we'll get into it, everything that went on. If it wasn't Leon Slater, then WDF was going on over there. Yeah, incredible match. I mean, I said in my preview, I was just like, Leon Slater and Carmelo Hayes. Yes, please give me that match. And they did not disappoint. And the fact is, I reckon they still could have gone another 10, 50 minutes and it'd be, been absolutely incredible. So good. Two incredibly young, talented guys. But as you said, they were, it was never going to go on to Leon Slater, but it was cool for him to come out. Um, the proper chance, he's one of our own and all that. So a proud Englishman and all that. It was good to see. Glad he got the reaction he got. I've seen so many companies that were there last night at SmackDown Progress. Their social media person was there right at the barrier posting about it and all that. And it was so cool to see. And Leon getting his flowers for being on the show. So incredible match. But what I'll say, I am interested in what they're doing with Carmelo with this storytelling that started last week in the match in Shinsuke Nakamura with
Yep.
his knee. That's two matches in a row now. Obviously, we've had one with Shinsuke, and last night he was selling the knee the entire time. I know as much as I know you were saying about Cardona and Mel going to Mania, which is certainly a possibility, but I wonder if they are maybe looking at this ending at Carmelo's reign sooner rather than later, if this is a storyline they're continuing to tell. So I said, I don't know where it's going to go. Obviously, that's the whole point. But it's just an interesting fact that's two matches in a row now that we've seen him having to sell that knee. So I don't know if it's going to lead to something.
Yeah, that is very interesting because it's like a lot of times in wrestling, it's like they have an injury or like an injury one week, but the next week they're fine. But
Hmm
they have him continuing to sell it, like last night on SmackDown. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on for sure.
hmm
Backstage, Tama Tonga walked up to Shinsuke Nakamura, who was watching the U.S. title match. And Tama Tonga says that Shinsuke Nakamura flopped his opportunity for the U.S. title, so he is going to be going after that once the MFTs handle the Wyatt Six. And Shinsuke Nakamura responded. I somewhat got the translation of what he told Tama Tonga. He pretty much just said that Tama Tonga can't tell his allies from his enemies anymore, and he's just stuck in the middle, sort of thing. Which is why it left Tama Tonga a little bit shook because, I mean, he's in a rough spot right now. He's just being told what to do, like a little bitch, by Solo Sikoa. So, um, yeah, that's what Shinsuke said to Tama Tonga. There's nothing really too much else to break down from that. Was there anything that you had from this?
No, I was just waiting because the reason I was talking about that before with the Carmelo stuff. If they aren't going to be keeping Mel on to Mania, which to be personally, I think is maybe a bit of a silly idea because I think Carmelo's such a big star. Do you probably want to show him at Mania?
Yeah,
Um, I will take the assumption, because we've had this US Open Challenge going on for so long. We talked about this a couple of episodes ago, I think, but the fact that you kind of narrow down the options that it's most likely going to be a heel that takes it off of Carmelo, because I don't think we're going to be continuing the US Open challenges with the next winner. I don't think we're going to be. Does Tama take it off of Carmelo? And again, that's why I was looking at the knee injury. That's what it is. I don't think, no, I'm going to say, I don't think it's going to happen. But there is just that little bit in the back of my mind. It's like, is this the direction we're going in? And as you said, maybe Tama brings it into the MFTs and he's like, oh, look, guys, look, Solo, I've got this now. I've got the singles jam. I don't know. But as I said, it's just an interesting thought to throw out there.
yeah, for sure. It's definitely a possibility that Tama Tonga maybe wins that U.S. title, and it causes some friction within the MFTs. Um, Axiom and Nathan Frazier play a little bit of mind games with Johnny Gargano. This is so funny and so stupid at the same time. Like Gargano says to Axiom that we're gonna go do married stuff, referring to him and Candice LeRae. And then LeRae walks away, but Nathan Frazier appears in an Axiom mask and a turtleneck, which seems to be the theme of this. And then they cheap shot or sucker punch Johnny Gargano, and Frazier says that next week He is going to beat Johnny Gargano, setting up that match next week in Montreal. And they are going to take the mask back. So that was that. I don't really want to dwell on that too much because it didn't really mean much. Frazier and not Frazier and Axiom, Frazier and Gargano are gonna have a match next week. Um, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, I was just going to say, yeah, I, mean, I said to you last night, I said there's not really much to go off of here, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's Frazier and Gargano. If they give them 10 minutes, I'm sure they could actually put on a half decent match, but
Yeah, I'm sure
somewhat
it'll be a
exciting.
good match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Jordan Grace defeated Chelsea Green
Hmm.
in a like for a match that was this short, Chelsea Green did a good job, I feel.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they both utilized the time that they had to the fullest here. And they did a really solid job in my opinion. Like and not, I don't think a lot of people will feel that way. But the way I looked at it, I think that they did a decent job here. Jordan Grace picks up the win. After the match, Jade Cargill, who was at ringside, who was kind of just eyeing Jordan Grace, and Grace says she wants to have a match with Jade Cargill. Chelsea Green tries to jump Grace from behind, but accidentally knocks Jade Cargill off the apron. And then that leaves Jordan Grace holding the title up for this segment. Do we get a triple threat in this scenario too, Rue?
Maybe. Maybe. Honestly, I should be saying that I think everything right now is on the balance of how Bianca Belair is, and no one, the fact is, no one knows.
Yeah.
Um, I get it. I like so my I've also my I've personal bias towards Chelsea Green 'cause I think she's amazing, but equally I love Jordan Grace, and as you said, if you're looking at this from a Jordan Grace fan point of view, he looked amazing here. Part of me is like, I wish it was Chelsea instead. However, I think Chelsea does have that era or that aura of the Miz around her. Like she can take a loss because she's Chelsea Green. She's so
Yeah.
good at it. There does come a point, though, I think, where's the difference with the Miz? He's also a former world champion. I do think we do need to push Chelsea a little bit eventually. But I just said like they were actually only what 4 minutes you said they were given. It is not long at all. But I am very much kind of similar to Trick Williams. I am loving so far what they're doing with Jordan Grace. Um, I think potential if Bianca is okay, I think they will just do the straight Bianca Jade match.
Yeah.
However, if Bianca is not okay, I personally am totally okay. Put that belt straight on Jordan because I'm fine with it. Because, and I don't think I'm alone here in saying it's just the Jade
Yeah.
stuff ain't working. It hasn't for a while.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Then we went to the main event, the final qualifying match for the Fatal Four Way, Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov in another banger. Man, such a good match these two put on. These two are just so damn good. There was a few moments where it seemed like Ilya was gonna win, but deep down we all knew very good damn and well that they were not gonna send Sami Zayn to Montreal, a loser. And he is probably going to be the one that wins that Fatal Four Way and goes on to the Royal Rumble. Now the question is, and this has been floating around a lot. Did Sami Zayn beat Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble in Saudi? Because he is very loved over there. He's very loved in Montreal, which is why I think he's going to win the Fatal Four Way. But in Saudi Arabia is a different question. Is Sami Zayn going to win that title, Rue?
Ah, maybe. Maybe. This is the thing, right? I just need to get a little rant out here, and I mean, I'll say it's not directed, but like we know who we'll talk about. There's just I love Sami Zayn. I always have loved Sami Zayn. I understand people's frustrations with the booking of Sami Zayn, not the man, and I think people need to get very clear on that, by the way. It's the booking. Um, over the last year. But this story that's going around within the IWC that he's overrated, he's awful. What are you watching? I'm sorry. The man is so good, so talented. Tell me you only started watching back in the last couple of years. Um, it's very frustrating to sit there, and as soon as you say you like Sami Zayn nowadays, it's like you're like saying the worst thing on the earth, and I'm like, it's so weird. Like I would be like old person's like, oh, why remember this? But it was, I mean, when Sami Zayn first came up in 2015, 16, I would kill for Sami Zayn to be a world champion. I still would. There's stuff he's gone on to do that I haven't been the biggest fan of. I personally am not a fan of heel Sami Zayn. Bar Bloodline stuff, that was fun. But I've never been a fan. I love babyface Sami Zayn. And I would be okay with him doing it here if it wasn't against Drew. Um, I would be okay with him doing it here. And again, this idea of people can't understand why he has a higher possibility of winning here because it's in Saudi Arabia. It's like we know he's not Saudi Arabian. It's just the people of Saudi Arabia, they can feel a connection to Sami Zayn. It is obviously a lot of it is religiously charged because Sami Zayn is also a proud Muslim. So it's like there's a reason why we're not saying he's got a better chance of winning here because he is Saudi Arabian or whatever. They just the extra love Sami Zayn over there. It'd be different if this was in America. Like
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have a chance of winning. But because you put it in Saudi Arabia, you're like, there is a chance. Now I thought there was a very high chance. I still think it's on that until what happened right at the end of the show, with Mr. Tricky Willie coming in.
Right.
Um, mm,
Right.
I want. I still think he's going to win that Fatal Four. I think he will. Seems a bit silly for him not to. Just saying though, I don't know if it's almost telegraphed. See, Sami Zayn doesn't win that Fatal Four way. Does he win the Rumble?
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe. I just think because I think everyone, like both of us included, were very much clued in on it being Sami Zayn winning that Fatal Four way, and I think he still will. But yeah, this really like told me, and again, I wonder if we're going to go down this route of WWE of trying to protect people by having them injured and not have, if we have Sami Zayn injured after the stuff with Trick Williams, and then he fights and claws and just manages to win that fatal failway, which by the way, God, that's gonna please some people that are slightly injured. Sami Zayn wins that fatal four way, and then goes on, but he's just too beat up to beat Drew McIntyre. Um, I'm staying. Well, it's funny to say I'm staying positive. I generally would be okay with Sammy winning this. It'd be different if right now if we were having like a Cody and Drew rematch, I'd be like, please, Drew.
Yeah.
um, but Sammy's someone that I've wanted to be world champion for so long. I think it does happen one day.
It has to.
It has to.
Yeah, it has to.
But I'm going to say it's not this day. I think Drew is going to retain. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. I'll say that. Well, at least not like well, maybe that's a bit false. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, Sami Zayn win the WWE Championship is a big surprise, but
Yeah.
I think there's a much higher chance of Sami Zayn winning this here than it is anywhere else, bar maybe if it was in Montreal. um, so I think there's a possibility. I am going to still stick with Drew to retain, and I think they will somewhat protect Sami Zayn in that, and he'll get his moment probably within the next year and a bit.
Well, they've had him lose a world title match in Montreal before.
Sure,
So
yep,
they
that.
like don't put it against them. Like they very well do it again. Speaking of people losing world title matches, Bron Breakker got suspended indefinitely on Monday Night Raw. So now we're moving on to like the headline stuff. That was SmackDown from last night. Um, I think that the reason they did this, and this was sparked from Bron Breakker, putting his hands on Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman saying that to Pearce that, oh, you put your hands on him first. But that's just Heyman. Like that's how the heels are gonna work. Like they're gonna try anything to make it in their favor. Um, but I think the reason that they did this is to avoid having Bron Breakker in the Royal Rumble.
Yes, thank
I
you.
I think that they don't want Braun Breaker to win the Royal Rumble, but they don't want him to lose the Royal Rumble either.
Mhm.
And I think that's why they're doing this, and then he's gonna come back after the Rumble, or it's very possible he interrupts during the Rumble and attacks a few
Mhm.
people, maybe eliminates a few people as well. And I think that if he comes out during the Rumble, which is more than likely to happen, and he eliminates a bunch of people. One of the people that he eliminates is going to be his WrestleMania opponent. Um, whether that be I don't know who it would be. Maybe like LA Knight or something like that. I have no clue. The LA Knight, somebody else we're still awaiting a return from as well. Because there was talks that he was in Germany or whatever, but he didn't show up on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, I think that's why Bron Breakker is suspended indefinitely because he's not going to be in the Rumble.
Well, if you couldn't tell from my reactions, that's exactly what I think as well. I'm glad you said it. You managed to get it because that's exactly what I was going to go on to say. I think you're spot on. Well, not that I think we're both spot on,
Yeah,
but because of it, it makes more sense because he's one of them ones where I feel like if Braun's in this match with the absolute heel he's been on at the minute, he has to win it. And as I said, I don't think the plan is for Braun to win it. So let's just not. It's kind of similar to what we said to Gunther. If he ain't going to win this match, don't put him in it.
yeah,
And I think it's the same thing for Braun here. So I think that's the exact reason why he was suspended.
yeah, 100%. I don't really have anything else to throw onto that. Um, let's talk about some NXT stuff. So Oba Femi's vacated NXT Championship. I apologize. I have to pet my dog while talking because he is just whining over here. Oba Femi's vacated NXT Championship will be determined in a six-man ladder match on the February 3rd episode of NXT. They're setting up a bunch of qualifiers for that match. I know we have Shiloh Hill versus oh shoot, I forgot who Shiloh Hill is facing.
It's Josh Briggs, I believe.
Okay, right. Sure. And then we have some other matches announced. Not all of the matches have been announced, but they got to figure it out quickly because they only got 3 weeks. I'd assume like Joe Hendry's going to be involved in this, Dion Lennox potentially as well, and those guys are going to all be involved in this. Which again, Joe Hendry should be on the main roster, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but I guess this is fine. What kind of boggles my mind is the fact that this isn't a special episode or anything like that. This is just, as of right now, is just a regular NXT episode.
Okay.
Unless like next week they're like, oh, this is NXT Vengeance Day TV special or something like that, potentially because they have not announced any NXT PLEs, not even Stand and Deliver. And I think that the reason that they're doing that is because of this Peacock deal. I think they're waiting till it's over before they do any PLEs for NXT and they get a new deal, which is kind of crazy. Like I can imagine if like worst case we don't get an NXT PLE until Stand and Deliver because they're going to do Stand and Deliver. Like 100% they're going to do that. They're going to find a way to do Stand and Deliver if, that's if they don't find um a streaming service by then. But I think that's the reason why they're not announcing any PLEs for NXT.
Yeah, that would actually make a lot of sense. Because you said they're definitely got to do stand and deliver. In the terms of the vacate championship, yeah, I mean, I said it to you last night. I'm really, really scared and that they're going to put this on Tony D, and I think it is going to go on Tony D just because of the amount of teases we've been getting. Because why is he going back to NXT? What has he got to do? Otherwise, I've just never been that invested. I know it's funny. We sat here and said that if Tony D's coming back, he has to have a different gimmick and not be the mob boss one. They've managed to bring him back with a different gimmick that I'm equally still not. I don't care about. um, it's like I know a lot of some folk do like him. It just doesn't do it for me. So I'm slightly concerned that this is going to go on to Tony D, and I don't know how I feel.
Yeah. I think that's a very good possibility that Tony D wins the NXT title. Um you can't hear my dog going crazy in the background. Not this one, the other one. You can't
Uh,
hear either
Very slightly, very slightly,
very
but
slightly. Okay.
very
Well,
just
I
slightly. It's not too bad.
I apologize about that, everybody. He is a very loud one. Still on topic of NXT, we have a couple of new NXT call-ups from Evolve. Keanu Carver and Eli Knight are now a part of the NXT roster. Keanu Carver was, made to be a big deal on this episode of NXT. And he was just throwing everybody around and whatnot. Eli Knight is interesting because he just got here. Like he just got to Evolve a couple of weeks ago, and he didn't do anything really at all on that episode of Evolve, on Evolve at all. So they must be wanting to go like all in on this guy. So it is what it is, I guess. We'll see how he goes. Maybe he is really good, and he surprises us, and maybe he is too good for Evolve, which is why they called him up to NXT. But yeah, Keanu Carver and Eli Knight are part of the NXT roster. I'm going to let my dog out while you take this one and talk about it a little bit. I'll be very quick.
Go for it, go for it. Yeah. So I mean, in the terms of like, um, Keanu Carter, I mean, he looks incredible now. Also, Josh knows more about Evolve than I do, but the guy looks like a monster. So definitely excited for him to see what he can do. I know he seems to already been maybe chucked in with this NXT title picture potentially. Could be a bit of a shock. I don't think it will go that way, but it could. Eli Knight is someone that I've not seen much of. I feel like they might want to change his name ever so slightly, a little bit similar to the Yeah Man. But look, I think what is very, very cool now that we're getting like NXT call ups, but like to NXT rather than to the main roster. We've also got like a NXT itself has got its own developmental brand in the fact that fact of Evolve. So it definitely gives them a lot of opportunities to pump them up to NXT, which is cool to see, especially in sort of specials like this. But yeah, I mean, good for Keanu Carter, good for Eli Knight. Though, as I said, I think Eli Knight might need to get a name change.
Yeah, for sure. Like every time I hear that name, I'm like, that sounds way too much like LA Knight. His name used to be Eli. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Um,
1 second, you keep talking. I'm just going to disappear for a second.
no worries. Um, Elio Lefleur is making his debut next week on NXT, and his debut is against Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. I don't know why. I don't understand why he is getting a title shot in his debut. I've been a big advocate on this podcast for you need to earn a title match. That's how wrestling should work. But he did not earn this title match. He's just coming over from AAA, I believe it is. So yeah, Elio Lefleur gets a North American title shot, and I'm going to say right now he's going to beat Ethan Page on NXT. I think we get a new North American champion on NXT, which is going to be crazy because like he just got here, but I think he's going to be the new North American champion.
Yeah, it's funny. I seen this match get announced as well, and I guess kind of pulls back to what I was talking about before with this NXT Championship. I think we do as well because at the minute, when you look at the landscape of who is at the top of NXT and could hold that NXT Championship, I said I'm slightly scared it's going to be Tony D. Um, Ricky Saints, I think it's a bit weird to have him have everything that happened between him and Oba and him losing it back again for it to go back onto him. Um, I'm cool with Ethan Page winning this as my main option, especially if it means not being Tony D. I would take unless obviously Ethan Page wants to get called up to the main roster because that's just where he should be. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's them done potentially with the call ups. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm cool. See, especially if Ethan Page continues to sort of mix in with like the Vanity Project as well, Jackson Drake and all that Evolve champion. I think that'd be quite a cool wee mix having Ethan. I just love Ethan Page and certainly a lot more than Tony D. But I'm actually with you. I've seen this match. We say this all the time, especially for how long we've been watching wrestling. Sometimes you just get a feeling, kind of like with Drew and Cody there, the three stages of hell. You're like, I've
Yeah.
got a weird feeling, and that's what I'm like looking at this match, and I'm like, I think you might lose this. So I'm actually totally with you.
Yep. Speaking of AAA, they've got the TV deal. So AAA, a weekly show for AAA is coming to Fox programming with one live show per month and three taped episodes set to debut tonight. Tonight is the first on Fox. And for my American audience, which I've seen my demographics, it's not a lot of you guys, surprisingly. Actually, it is a lot of you guys in some places. I can't remember if it's here on YouTube, but to my US people, um, it is going to be available in the States on Fox programming. I think it's called Fox One, which is a new program that they've created. As somebody who has access to all these US channels, they gotta stop making this so confusing. They got Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, Fox Sports 3, Fox 1, Fox 2. Like, What the fox, man? Like this is ridiculous. Like, um, but I'm not really like enticed by this show. I know you're a AAA guy.
Yeah.
I'm not very enticed by it. I haven't really been, very involved or like I'm trying to find the word like interested
Mhm.
in AAA recently. So I'll let you carry this one so I don't completely bury the company.
No, sure. It's like this is the thing. I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's like, oh my God, every match is this masterpiece. You've got to go and watch it. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is, and sometimes you get a Chad Gable and a Vikingo, and it's like hell, we go watch that match.
Yeah.
Um, if you can appreciate and enjoy just sheer stupidity in that ring, and you just want to switch your brain off, not have to think about the storylines, does that make sense? No one cares because it's AAA. Just switch your brain off, have Omos in there with Microman, and it's a great time. Believe me, it's sheer just turn your brain off fun, and that's why I love watching it. I don't watch it to get invested in the storylines, but some of them I said like I love like what they're doing right now with the in the main event, also with Dominic Mysterio eventually winning the Mega Championato. Interesting to see what happens with that tonight because we've got El Grande and Vikingo who's going to go on to be his number one contender for that. Um, which is because also we still don't quite know the state of Dominic Mysterio. It's been really hush hush at the minute. So hopefully we'll find out. So I am thoroughly enjoying it. But it's a very unique taste, very very unique taste. It's not like something where like you can watch WWE, you can watch AEW, and you just get an all round great show. Sometimes not, sometimes it is. AAA, if you don't like AAA, I can totally understand why. I can completely understand why. Me personally, I just love being able to switch my brain off. That's what I'm not even going to go live for it or anything tonight. I'm just going to go sit, watch it, and enjoy it myself. Um, so yeah, as I say, I'm looking forward to it. And I just want to see like Le Parker dancing down to the ring or Mr. Iguana doing his stuff. Because I'm with you. Like I think the Mr. Iguana stuff is cool, but when you try to mix it in with serious main roster talent, it's a bit like, oh, I don't know. Where he's
Yeah.
best suited in AAA alongside Le Parker, alongside Nino Hamburguesa. That's where I think it excels. So I personally am very, very excited for it. Also, as you know, I've been a big fan of it, so I'll certainly be watching it and watch it tonight. But I mean, it's good for them. But I do also just love. I know it's different because WWE actually owns them. It's not the partnership. But I do love the difference of how AAA is getting treated compared to TNA, which I will get onto.
Yeah. Um, that is what we are moving on to.
Okay, let's just go
TNA.
for it.
I was trying to think of a transition, but
Just low TNA. Let's just say it.
speaking of things that aren't great, we had the AMC premiere for TNA on Thursday. And I spoke about this on the Kayfabe recap this past week that I thought that they should have just done a TV special for Genesis on Thursday, and that's still your AMC premiere, and you could fit everything in one. Um, they didn't do that, and before I get into this, I want to say I know some people in TNA and I love you guys. I have the utmost amount of respect for what you guys do. Sway Archer, I know, makes some gear backstage. He's made gear for Trick Williams as well. So shout out to him. Obviously, Santino Marella, aka Anthony Corelli, Jody Threat, all these people at TNA. I love you guys, but it's getting really hard to defend this company. Like I want to cheer TNA, Ru. I want to cheer them, but then they do this, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, dude!" I got so mad watching this show. I got so mad after the show ended. I just went outside and sat and looked at the clouds because I was like, "This that was atrocious. This show was real bad, real bad." Um. There was like the Knockouts tag title. By the way, three matches on a 2 hour show.
Oh my God, I know.
Three matches on a 2 hour show. Oh my God. There were a couple good things that came from this. Daria Ray, formerly known as Sonya Deville, who I've spoken to before. appeared on the show. She is now assistant general manager to Santino. Elena Black also made her return.
Mhm.
So she is in TNA now. Um, but that was it. That we had
Let's see AJ
TNA
Styles.
Knockouts tag titles on the line between the Elegance brand and the Inspiration for like the 500th time. Um, and the Elegance is this is retain. Um, this was this was not a good match. It was not a good match, and I really thought about it. I'm like, they don't have any other tag teams in this division. Lei Ying Lee is the TNA Knockouts champion, so Zaya Brookside doesn't have a tag partner. They don't have Spitfire anymore. It's literally these two teams. That's all. And I think the Inspiration are out of their. I think they're. Well, we got the report that they are done with TNA. So now there's only one team in the tag team division. What is going on here? I know we have Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford.
Oh yeah.
Realistically, they're not going to feud with the Elegance brand. Realistically, not a lot of people want to see Tessa Blanchard on the TV screen. Um, and Tessa Blanchard's not. They don't push her like a world champion right now. So I think she might just hang around in the tag division anyway. But there was that. Other than the main event, we had another match. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, right, we had Order 4 taking on
Oh my
Elijah
God.
and the Hardys, and Mustafa Ali gets pinned. Why? Why is Elijah pinning Mustafa Ali?
Because he was
Why?
at John Cena's last match. That's
Oh
why.
my gosh, man. This was ridiculous. It was a good match. It was a solid match. It was a really solid outing from both sides. When you get talented guys like this, they're not going to put on a bad match. But when you have writers who don't really know how to write, it's not going to turn out good. Um, this feud between Elijah and Mustafa Ali has involved a horse. Quite literally, a horse that dragged Mustafa Ali away at what was it, Final Resolution or something like that. I can't remember which show it was now, but got dragged away on a horse. And saddle up because I'm not done. We
Oh.
had um the main event for the TNA World Championship. Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian put on a fantastic match, but TNA can never do anything right, can they? They can't because the ref counted a 3, but Frankie kicked out. I got so mad, Rube. I got so mad. I was like, that was my final straw. That was it for me. I was like, oh my gosh. They put on such a good match. Such a good match. And that that was that. That was the AMC premiere for TNA. They've lost the inspiration. They've lost Jake Doyle, aka Jake something. I had this written down, but they lost the Rascalz, who I
Mhm.
think are going to be a very good addition to AEW. I don't think they're going to be anything like spectacular or anything like that, but
Yeah.
they're there to have a couple good matches and hopefully revitalize the trios division. We're going to get into that a little bit shortly as well regarding the trios titles, because a lot of people know the spoilers for that anyway. So we're going to be talking about that. So if you don't want spoilers for Collision, I'll give a warning before we get into that. Um, but before any of that, congratulations to the Rascals, by the way. Um, I have a funny story actually about the Rascals before we get into Genesis. Actually, just one of them, and he's not going to remember this. I guarantee you, because he has so many better things to do in his life that remember this weird little moment that I just overthought. I was When I was an active competitor, I was doing extra work for TNA at Battle Arts Academy, and I decided, you know what, I look pretty good right now. Let's take a mirror selfie right in this bathroom. I take this mirror selfie. Trey Miguel walks in the washroom right behind me, and I'm just like, oh, hey man, and I walk out. the most embarrassed hi I've ever said to anybody because I was like, well, I just got walked in on taking a bathroom selfie, but that's beside the point. Let's talk about TNA Genesis. Actually, did you want to give your opinions on the MC premiere?
Sure, but first you just remind me of something completely off topic. Do you know what? I also have a funny, not quite celebrity, but kind of celebrity bathroom interaction. And I'll tell you about it if you remind me because it's just very funny. So I was it would have been April 2024. I was at the Barrowlands in Glasgow. If anyone from Scotland's listen to this, will know what that venue is. It's a music venue. I've also seen wrestling there. I was there to see Pierce Lavelle. Now I went into the toilet, only myself in the toilet. Guy walks in. I know sometimes you kind of when it's just you and you give the kind of like like it's up and all that. We both end up going up to the sink at the same time.
Yeah.
And then he said to me like, "Oh, you looking forward to the show?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'll be good." But he said it to me in an American accent. I was like, "It's a bit random," but I mean, it was Glasgow. A lot of people around here, whatever. And I was like, "Yeah, man, it should be good." And I was like, "Hope you have a good night. I'll enjoy the show." And he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, cool, man." Go back out. We get through all the support bands. Out comes Pierce the Veil on the stage. Who do I see walking onto that stage and sitting behind the drum set? The goddamn guy from the toilet that I said, "Oh, I hope you have a good night too, man." So that's my embarrassing bathroom story. Um,
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
TNA. I'm with you. I love TNA. I loved TNA. I want to love TNA. And my God, now I'm going to just give her a shout out here because it's all I always get a good laugh for it. And you know myself, a good friend of both channels here, Phoebe. You know the amount of times when Phoebe hates it when SmackDown does something and she says she's done with the show. My God, God forbid she was a TNA fan. Oh my God, God forbid Phoebe do not watch TNA if you're listening to this. Um, I don't even know where I've not even seen the show. I just loved waking up on Friday morning and just seeing the collective shit show that basically went down on Twitter, online, on TikTok. I've seen all the clips from it. Man, we didn't even get to talk about the bloody Dixie Carter stuff there. Oh, so much. Now, what I will say, I have heard, and not just from yourself, other people, but bar the knockouts tag match, I have heard the other two matches on this 2 hour show were very, very good. Um, Mike Santana's far too good for TNA. Let's just say it right now. He's far too good, especially after this. Um, I actually don't know where to start. AJ Styles, that was cool. It was to get to see AJ Styles again.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The guy came out and chanted AMC.
Yeah,
That's what they
it was
brought
look
AJ
great.
Styles for? To
It
chant
wasn't great.
AMC at the crowd? No, it wasn't cool. And then we did have a sort of cool segment with him and Frankie Kazarian staring each other down. Is that going to go anywhere now? Maybe it's just a Styles and Kazarian match. Maybe Styles goes after Santana for the TNA World Title. That could potentially be cool. But they
Hmm.
wasted a good like 5 to 8 minutes of the first part of the show of AJ Styles being like, "We're on AMC, AMC, AMC." Wow, that's phenomenal, AJ.
Oh, whoa, it absolutely was. Don't know what you're talking about. That I mean, it was cool to see Elena Black. They all that was cool. Sure. Let's got that. I'm trying to even think what else we had. Let's just get into it. Dixie Carter. What were they thinking? Did they think they were going to get any other reaction than what they got? And then Hug standing face to face with Bully Ray, and then he's like, "Oh, only joking," just to only get booed even louder. Um, yeah. Okay.
Forget Dixie Carter, by the way, because I'm not giving that any airtime at all. Um, let's talk about Bubba Ray though, who was on commentary for the main event.
Oh, was it? I didn't even know he was.
He was on commentary for the main event. Oh my gosh, man. I don't know who I would have preferred. I would have probably preferred
Okay.
I don't know, Jim Ross. Because like this
Oh.
was just
Oh.
this he was like saying the most random things ever and it was just like, "Oh, dude, what?" Like he was taking shots at Tony Khan on commentary. I was like, "Are you kidding me?
I didn't even know any of this.
Are
That's
we
amazing.
being for real?" Like, you have to be a real wrestling fan to have read between the lines of what Bubba was saying. Or Bully Ray, sorry, or whatever the hell he wants to be called. LFG coach, whatever. So like, it was just bad all around.
Oh
Um,
my-
I don't expect TNA Genesis tonight to be any better. Um,
Nope.
because we've got a total of 8 matches on TNA tonight, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but for TNA it's a lot. Because let's break down what those 8 matches are, Rue, because that's what we do best here. Um, Ryan Nemeth versus Mara Sade is happening on this show, ladies and gentlemen.
What a WrestleMania main event.
I'm going to repeat that. Ryan Nemeth, the brother of Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, is taking on Mara Sade, formerly known as Jakara Jackson, on a TNA pay-per-view.
Someone's got to fill the Hornswoggle Boogeyman spot.
I have not been amused by this rivalry. I will say, early on when Mara Sade would just super kick Ryan out of nowhere was hilarious because Ryan Nemeth is just very good at this role. Like I love the contract signing thing that he did when Nick Nemeth re-signed and he was just standing there, like, oh well, are you guys gonna resign me too? Where's my contract? So I found that pretty funny. Ryan Nemeth is just comedy gold, but this rivalry is not. Um, I don't I don't care who wins. Can I say that?
Sure.
I don't really care, to be honest. Like again, I love TNA and I love some people over there at TNA as well. But stuff like this just makes it really difficult to support this company. Like it's not good. Um, I'm gonna say Mara Sade wins.
Sure. I will agree on that. Yeah, Barrow Shady. Sure, I'll take her as well. This is TNA, man. TNA. Pure TNA. Is it pure TNA? I don't even know anymore. I feel so bad.
We also have AJ Francis taking on Rich Swann, because Rich Swann finally came to his senses and turned on AJ Francis, after AJ Francis was using him as like little puppet and having him do things that he didn't want to do when it came to Leon Slater. That sounds so bad.
Yes.
That sounded
So
so bad. Um, Rich Swann hit AJ Francis with the X Division title because he had enough of what AJ put him through. So these two are having a match. I assume AJ Francis is going to win this match. He's in more of a vital role in TNA than Rich Swann is. Sure, Rich Swann is a former TNA World Champion, but I don't think that really matters in 2026. I don't really know how much longer Rich Swann has in terms of wrestling. He's been doing this for quite some time now. I'm gonna go with AJ Francis to win this match.
uh yeah, no, they make actually a lot of sense there, not that this always does. Yeah, actually I will as well, because that's a good point what you're saying about Rich Swann. I don't know how long will it go. I'll go with AJ Francis as well. Why not?
We then have Mustafa Ali taking on Elijah because pinning him on the AMC premiere wasn't enough. So these two are going toe to toe. I I want to hope that Mustafa wins this match. He should. He should not lose to Elijah here at all. And I'm gonna go with Mustafa Ali just out of hope. Um, the Hardys are busy on this show. They won't be able to help Elijah, and we'll get into that. But I'm gonna go with Mustafa Ali to win here.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen and heard from yourself, going on from the AMC debut, please, Mustafa Ali win. He's too good to be labeled with this shit. Please, Mustafa win.
Yeah. We then have a three-way match, not for the X Division title, because Leon Slater is busy in the company that he's not actually signed to, but he's going to be signed to once his contract with the company that he is with is over. Um, that is Moose, Cedric Alexander, and Joe Hendry. Just a random three-way match for fun. Joe Hendry, by the way, is not a TNA superstar anymore. He is a WWE superstar. He is under NXT. But they decided to have him here in this three-way match. I kind of liked the segment that they had on the AMC premiere where I like it popped me a little bit where Santino went to break the news to Cedric Alexander, and Santino was like, I don't want to say his name. And he said his name, and Joe Hendry called Cedric Alexander on his phone. That was pretty cool. Like that popped me a little bit. In terms of who wins this match, I don't know. I really don't. It's not for anything. It doesn't mean anything. So I'm gonna go with Cedric Alexander to potentially win this match. I think Moose doesn't really make sense. You know, he's won the X Division title before. I didn't think he was gonna win the X Division title if Leon was to be in this match. Joe Hendry is just here as a replacement for Leon. So I think Cedric Alexander is gonna win this match and potentially be the one to beat Leon for that X Division title.
Yeah, as if we had the actual match here, then I would be a bit more hesitant to go with what I'm going to go with. But I pointed this out. Like, I do love the fact that they're like, oh, we've just taken Joe Hendry from you. He's now with us. Oh, but we quite like Leon Slater, even though he's with you. So we tell you what, you can have back your former TNA talent, who's now a WWE talent, and we'll take your TNA talent away from you. How about that? Partnership. Um, I know. Actually, I'm gonna say like you because this isn't for anything. I was gonna go with Cedric as well. I don't. It would have been a bit. I would have been less like open to going for him. I might still have if this was the actual match we were getting. I could totally see Cedric taking that off of Leon now. But I'd be a bit more hesitant. Well, seeing as this isn't for anything, Cedric's just re-signed. Or was signed to them. Sorry. Yeah, let's give him a big win. So yeah, I'll take Cedric as well.
It was a re-signing.
Oh, was a re-sign?
So
Okay,
yeah, he was signed before. Yeah.
right.
So he's sticking around for a little bit longer, which to your point makes me believe that he is being set up to win that X Division title at some point, which is fine by me. Cedric Alexander is a great talent.
Mhm.
Um, we have JDC's retirement match, aka Fandango's retirement match. He's taking on his system member Eddie Edwards. Um, this is just gonna be like I think this should be a good match. I like these two are very talented. And there's gonna be some emotion to it because JDC told Eddie Edwards that if he doesn't pull the trigger on Saturday, he will. I think Eddie Edwards is going to win this match. JDC is gonna go out on his back, give some momentum to Eddie Edwards. We have a new member of the system that's to be announced as well next week on TNA Impact. So after this match, JDC is gonna have his little speech and then introduce the new member of the system, whoever that might be. Um, there's nothing that really like shoots out to me or stands out to me as to who the new member is going to be. I can't really pinpoint it. It could literally be anybody. It could be like I don't know. It could. I'm trying to think. It could be Tommy Dreamer for all we know. Um, so, but yeah, I think Eddie Edwards is going to pick up the W in this one.
Yeah, I think like firstly retirement match anyway, so you're kind of expecting JDC to lose. I didn't actually know that about the system and the fact that a new member is going to be announced. So I guess the 2 points to that. Firstly, again, I think that surely tells that JDC's on the way out anyway, and he said that obviously if he does, he'll pull the trigger. Um, to that point, yeah, because I didn't know this was going to happen. I don't know who's in the market right now to be available to come out. But generally, I'm quite stumped on that. So I guess that's actually at least something intriguing that they've managed to set up. But yeah, I think Eddie Edwards should win this. Good farewell for JDC, and I say give a wee bit of momentum to Eddie as well on his way out.
What if, and it's a really, really, really big if, that the new member of the system
Don't say it.
is Chris Jericho?
I know you're going to say it.
What if
As soon as you said what if, I went, wait, there's
the
one
guy
big
that
one I'm thinking
JDC
of.
beat at WrestleMania could be the guy he brings
True,
in to replace him at the system?
true.
But again, I feel like it should be somebody younger, somebody
Yeah.
hungrier, because Chris Jericho's gonna be on his way out soon too. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Make this interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Eddie. They should let JDC come out to the Fandango music.
that'd be
I
cool.
feel like they should let him come out to the Fandango music tonight. Let him have that. Um, The TNA tag team titles are on the line. The Hardys are taking on the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch. I like the Righteous. I think that they've been fairly entertaining. And I think that we're getting new tag champs here. I think the Righteous are going to take the titles off of the Hardys. The Hardys have been holding it for a while, unless this is a case of we just got into the AMC era. We still want the Hardys to have the titles for a little bit. I could see that being the case, but I would give it to the Righteous here. I like the little snap thing that they do on the way to the ring. I find that a little bit catchy. But yeah, I think I'm going with the Righteous to win the tag titles.
So I'm with you. I really like the Righteous as well, and it was a bit of a shame they came at TNA. It was zero pop and nobody cared, don't know who they were. Which was a bit of a shame. And you know what? I think just to be a bit different, I'll go with the Hardys simply for the reason you said there, the fact that with it being in a new era with AMC, they might want to keep it on them. But I would be quite happy for the Righteous to win. Wouldn't even be surprised if they do win this. But also just so it's not a complete copy, I'll take the Hardys here. Why not?
Yeah. Um, we have the TNA Knockouts World Championship on the line. Lei Ying Lee is defending the title against Zarya. Because Zarya and Sol Ruka came out on the AMC premiere. Because Danny Luna was having visa issues, apparently, whether that was true or not, doesn't look great. And I think Danny Luna is somebody that's going to be on her way out of the company soon as well, which again is not a good look going into this era. But yeah, Lei Ying Lee defending the title against Zarya. I can't imagine Zarya's winning the TNA Knockouts title here. I don't see a world in where it makes sense, so I am going to go with Lei Ying Lee to retain here. It should be a solid match. They're both solid in-ring competitors. So yeah, solid match. But I think Lei Ying Lee is going to retain.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. I just don't see Zario winning this, and I mean, I know it's a shame. It's kind of a shame actually, considering where I think Zario should be with how the hype she came into NXT. Because I should be looking at this going like, oh yeah, Zario's going to run through her. Especially with NXT's basically takeover of TNA over the last year. But I'm with you. I just don't see it. I think Lee, I always get her name mixed up. Lee Ying Lee, will retain when it comes to yeah, I'm with it. Just don't actually see Zario holding it. To be truly honest.
Yeah. So I didn't know these additions to the main event until, excuse me, I just opened the card. I'm losing my voice,
Yeah.
guys. So the TNA World Championship match is a Texas death match.
Hmm.
So I actually that part I knew.
Yeah.
This part I didn't. The special guest referee is Nick Nemeth.
Yeah. I didn't know this.
I did not see that anywhere, but
Okay.
yeah, special guest referee Nick Nemeth, Texas death match. It could be a lot of fun. Obviously, this is not the exact match we saw on Thursday, so I'm glad they added a stipulation to it. Again, I still think it's a little bit stupid that they did this just 2 days later. Um, what I think is going to happen here is Mike Santana is going to retain. Nick Nemeth potentially cashes in. Now, I put on the Discord server asking if Nick Nemeth is going to cash in tonight, and somebody voted no. It's not going to happen tonight. I think it'll happen. I think it's if it doesn't happen tonight, Nick Nemeth is going to be a TNA World Champion at some point in the near future. I think it's just bound to happen. Especially with the WWE TNA partnership. I could see them putting it on Nick Nemeth, and I think it very well could happen tonight.
See, especially now, I don't know how you think about this. I don't know if we even spoke about this. Um, I think this year, and more than any other year, I mean, obviously because we've only had this for going on a year. Um, I wonder if this is the year where we finally, we say finally, where we might get a TNA World Championship match at WrestleMania. And if we were, as you said, Nick Nemeth, obviously former Dolph Ziggler, we've seen him cutting about in WWE recently as Dolph Ziggler. He's fresh in the memory, even if it means him going back up against Mike Santana again, and Santana wins again, as you've been pointing out from the start. And I do think it's certainly a route that they might go down. As ridiculous as it sounds. I can totally see Nick Nemeth cashing in here. So yeah, I mean, the match itself, obviously, I think Santana will beat Kazarian.
Yeah.
I think that, but yeah, I think there's a high chance that Nick Nemeth cashes in and becomes your new TNA World Champion tonight. Guess we'll just wait and see. At least it's something a bit different in the Texas Death Match, which I, I'm I'm actually quite intrigued to see how that goes. Um, and see, I mean, because it's Santana, and then we know the man's quite happy to get down and dirty. So I'm certainly interested more than I would be if it was just a singles match, which I thought they were originally going to do. So at least they've done that. But I do agree with you. I think there's overall how this has been told is a bit weird.
You know what I want Nick Nemeth to do? And I think it would be very entertaining, and I'd be very sports entertained if this happened. Um, is if Nick Nemeth doesn't count at all and just lets them beat the hell out of each other until the final moments where he finally counts and then the match
That's
is over.
actually a smart idea.
It would be very, very smart for Nick Nemeth to not count, just be in the corner, just watch them. Somebody goes to the cover, nah, that's not
That
enough. That's not enough yet. Keep going. And then yeah, they just keep beating the hell out of each other, and Nick Nemeth counts it and then cashes in after. I can imagine he's gonna have his call your shot very close by. Probably Ryan Nemeth potentially holding it and bringing
yeah.
it out to him. But yeah, I want that to happen. I don't know if it will, but I think that'd be really cool.
I think that's a very good idea. Just truly, I think that's very smart. He said let the start of the match, not counting it, let the match go 15, then get to about 20 minutes, maybe a big spot happens. Santana just has to crawl for the cover. Even fast count it if you wanted, and then he's like, right, Ryan, down you come. I think
Yeah,
that's actually quite a smart idea.
it's good. Let them go 30. Let them go 30
Yeah,
and kill each other for 30 minutes.
yeah.
And
Poor Frankie.
TNA like TNA can get dirty. Like let's
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
act like this is gonna be a WWE thing. Like WWE has never done a death match in their entire life.
No.
So if anybody's thinking that this is going to be like a WWE no disqualification match, it is not going to be.
Yeah.
They are going to get dirty. They are going to get bloody in this match, and that's how TNA is, man. Like we saw with Danny Luna and Indy Hartwell in a dog
Mhm.
collar match. Holy hell, they beat the hell out of each other. By the way, is Indy Hartwell never going to win the Knockouts championship?
That's a good
Like,
point. I forgot. I
what are
forgot
we?
about it.
Like, she might not just win it at all. Like, she might just be there.
I forgot. I forgot about it.
Yeah, like she's just, doing some random things with the Elegance brand now, and she might be facing them next week. It's all over the place. Um, what else is all over the place, and we're coming down to like the final stretch of things here, is the AEW Trios titles. Now, there's some other things that went down on Collision, but we're gonna break down the main things, or the main thing. That was the Ops lost their Trios titles to Hangman Adam Page and Jet Speed. This surprised me a lot. More surprising that Jet Speed's first titles are the Trios titles rather than the tag titles. Um, yeah, this is weird. Like I'm not saying that this is terrible. Like I don't think it's a
Mhm.
god awful decision. I think the entire Trios titles as a whole has just not been booked properly. It's been it's been poorly booked, the Trios titles. Um, so I hope maybe like the Rascalz can come in, have a good match with Hangman and Jet Speed, revitalize the Trios division a little bit. Yeah, this was just weird. I looked at this, I'm like, I don't hate it. I don't love it either. It's just really weird.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. I just said very, very strange. When I seen this as well, I was like, oh, okay. It's not some names I expected to be together, but I mean, sure. I mean, we mentioned it earlier. Maybe holding on till we get like a proper trios team to come in. The Rascals potentially coming in. No, because it's just weird. That's what it comes down to. I don't think I'm with you. It's not bad. It's just weird. I did not expect it at all. Obviously the big thing coming out of that is obviously with the Ops losing the belts. sure you can talk about if you want, but obviously what happens next with Big Powerhouse. Where does Hobbs go?
And that is what else we have to talk about. By the way, an idea just came to me, and
Cool.
I'm going to say it before because it's going back to TNA, but I don't want to forget it.
Yeah.
What if the new member of the system is none other than somebody we haven't seen in a long time? He's been spending a lot of time in NWA, but he's no longer obligated to NWA. That's EC3.
That's actually a good shout.
What if it's EC3 that shows up in TNA? I can't see him going to WWE. I
Yeah.
can't see him going to AEW. I can definitely see him going back to TNA. And maybe he's the new member of the system. I just want to throw that out there. Potentially that could be the one.
That is actually good. Considering there's not really anyone else in the free agent market, I said Bob Chris Jericho, which would be mental. Um, that is actually a very, very good show, especially to slip into there, that position where I don't, it's not going to be right up the top of the card, but he could do some good stuff in around like with Eddie Edwards. So you know what? That's actually a good one. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's gonna be interesting to see where the system goes to because they're baby faces currently. I don't know if they're gonna turn
Mhm.
back heel or anything like that. Um, But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there that
Mhm.
because that came to mind immediately. But yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs is no longer a part of the ops because he is a part of the WWE or is going to be a part of the WWE. Yeah, he his contract ended on midnight at on Wednesday. So that Dynamite was his last Dynamite, which I didn't even know. I didn't even know on the post show. I found out after I did the post show for Dynamite. I'm like, are you kidding me? I couldn't find this out during the post show. But yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs is seems to be headed over to WWE. He is. It is reported that he is going to undergo a name change. Let's
Mhm.
have some fun here. What do we think his new name is going to be? I'm thinking that maybe they just go with Hobbs. They seem
Mhm.
to like those like one, like syllable names or whatever. I can see them just going with Hobbs. I hope they don't go with something with stupid like Powerhouse Bill or something like that. I don't know. Like, I
Billy
don't know.
Hobbs.
What's some names that come to mind?
No, I think the main because it's funny because that's exactly what I thought as well. I've heard another Brian Cultaholic we're talking about this as well, and then they think it's just going to be Hobbs because I'm with you. Like for someone like him, just that single barrel, just Hobbs, that just one word name, I think makes a lot of sense. Um,
Hobbs.
yeah, exactly. You can see it across. Like you get folk coming, like the Oba, like the Oba chants or the like Moose chants. You get
Yeah.
Hobbs, coming down the ring. Especially that TNA crowd, they'll lap it up like sheep that they are. I hope they don't do something like Big Willie Hobbs or something like that. Hopefully they don't.
I really hope he doesn't go to NXT. I think he
Okay,
will.
straight on main roster.
I think he will go to NXT, but I think he should go to the main roster. Um, I think it just suits him. I don't particularly know what he would do on the main roster. Um, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'm maybe, you know what, if he were to go to NXT, he can be a bodyguard for Ricky Saints, who potentially wins the NXT title.
Hmm.
And then because they have history in Team Taz or whatever, and then eventually Powerhouse Hobbs turns on Ricky Saints and wins the NXT title.
I think that makes sense because I'm with you. I think he is definitely good enough to just go onto the main roster. But I think with the amount of calls we've got, especially someone particularly being Oba Femi coming up to the main roster,
Yeah.
that similar style. I think I'm with you. I think he could absolutely skip NXT, but maybe just for like a short run. And what's interesting is you brought up the bodyguard stuff because I was listening to a news wrestling news channel I watch talk about this, and they said the exact same that they can see him coming in to be someone's bodyguard. And it's quite funny too. There's 2 points. There's firstly, I was gonna say kind of similar to what Big E did for like Dolph Ziggler. And I think what
Yeah.
you said, yeah, I think what you
Yeah.
said actually, like Vicky's sense is a good one. But equally on that, they brought up quite a funny one. Obviously, it's not going to happen. But he would be see if Big E was like all good and cleared. he would be such a good partner for Big E to go up against the Kofi and Xavier to take
Yes.
on in the day.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So yes, I actually like that shot of him being Ricky's bodyguard and then eventually just absolutely decimating Ricky, turning on because well, we've talked before. I love Powerhouse Hobbs. I think he had so much potential, but just that AEW roster, the main event is so stacked.
Yeah.
I just don't think he was going to get similar similar story to Ricky Saints, obviously former Ricky Starks, in AEW. So I think he comes over to NXT, easy NXT champion. I mean, he could easily win that. He could win it within the first week if he wanted to, if they weren't going to go down the route of the bodyguard. But I like the shout that the bodyguard of Ricky Saints.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's funny about that Big E thing you mentioned? In my universe mode, if anybody cares, but I'm just gonna throw this out there, that I have Powerhouse Hobbs and Xavier Woods as a tag team.
Okay, okay.
So I found that pretty funny that you brought up the Big E thing.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that is our loaded show of the headlines of pro wrestling this week, episode 30. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, what you thought of everything we went over today, whether you agree or disagree with our opinions. We always love hearing what you guys have to say, so make sure you guys drop them in the comments. Like I mentioned at the start, make sure you have notifications on and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, so you're notified when all my interviews and videos and podcasts drop, like my interview with Jax Williams that is dropping on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, make sure you guys go check that stuff out. Check out my social medias, all that stuff, Instagram, Twitter /X, TikTok, all that good stuff is in the description below. So make sure you guys go check all that stuff out. Rue, where can they find you?
Yeah, if we're on wrestling over on TikTok and on YouTube. Um, I tend to post daily. I've had a bit of an off week. Very very busy and tiring week from work wise, but for the most part, if I'm posting daily, and I do lives for SmackDown, PLEs, all of that fun stuff over on TikTok. So you can find me there, and you can find me on YouTube as well. We're on wrestling.
Sweet. Yeah, this has been the headlines in pro wrestling this week, episode 30. I will see you guys tomorrow for the Kayfabe recap. I will be back yet again. So I will see you guys there. And until then, take it easy.